Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another wrestling match review. So, we're continuing our look at WrestleMania matches because we are in the month of March and thus slowly approaching WrestleMania season. And one of the biggest facets of WrestleMania season is the streak. Now, we've looked at a couple matches last week pertaining to the streak as Undertaker battled his brother Kane not once but twice. And the Undertaker streak, a very important, very iconic, legendary WrestleMania streak. But what happens when a legend meets a legend killer? Let's find out. I'm, of course, talking about WrestleMania 21 as The Undertaker takes on Randy Orton. Now, as always, I'm not professional wrestling reviewer, analyst, or anything like that. Just a man who enjoys a good time, and I had a pretty good time watching this match and getting to review this match. Now, excuse me, there is a certain aspect of this match. And by that I mean the RKO spots that I've seen before, but I think this is the first time uh I'm if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the first time I've seen this match in its entirety. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. If you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked and disliked about the match. As for how we got here, by this time Orton fully split from Evolution. They actually kicked Orton out of Evolution the previous year. And now Orton was on Raw, and he was in the midst of his legend killer persona, taking out all the legends. And persona he'd have for a little bit before fully transitioning to the Viper. But this was around when he was the legend killer. That is, he wasn't quite the legend just yet, but he was the legend killer, taking out all the legends, taking out all the legendary things. And what bigger legend than the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, this was around when they were acknowledging the Undertaker's streak that he had at WrestleMania. So, now it's become this big thing, and they're really leading into it when it comes to this match. So, Randy is seeking to take out one of the biggest legends of them all in the Undertaker streak, and now Orton has also enlisted the help of his dad, Papa Orton, Cowboy Bob Orton, and who still has the cast on his hand, but as established in canon for Cowboy Bob Orton, usually uses it as a weapon, and so Randy and Undertaker had some encounters beforehand. Randy even slapped the Undertaker, which is a pretty bold move, kid. But there was also this one segment where Randy was spooked by seeing Undertaker in the mirror. I'm not sure if that was after this match, because spoiler, they would continue to feud throughout the rest of 2005. But yeah, plenty of mind games from the Undertaker to Randy, uh, and uh, it leads into this match. Even when the entrance happens, Undertaker comes down to the ring. You could tell he's on like a rolling platform that's like moving him along as he's just kind of standing there. It looked kind of goofy, but they try to put over in a big way. Like Michael Cole and Taz are perplexed, like, oh, Undertaker's coming down to the ring, but he doesn't seem to be walking. What is this? This is unexplainable. Oh, guys, did you forget the moving carts at WrestleMania 3? Yeah, imagine that, but smaller. And technically, this is an interpromotional match. Undertaker is a SmackDown wrestler. Meanwhile, Randy Orton is a Raw wrestler, or so. So a bit of interpromotionality going on. And I guess between this and Survivor Series, this is when I realized this was the year they really were playing up the brand warfare. Even at the Rumble, with John Cena and Batista both going out at the same time. Which, my conspiracy theory is that was on purpose. Like, hey, everybody's tried to say it was an accident. I'm sorry, but the way it played out, I'm not buying it. But maybe that's just me. But But yeah, they were really going for the whole SmackDown versus Raw approach this year. They were really stoking it up in a big way. Like, hey, of all the years of the brand split that had happened and where it was SmackDown versus Raw, this was definitely the year they like fully leaned into it. But now getting into the actual match, starting with what I liked, a really good, just like fast paced, back and forth. Like, hey, everything feels really fluid and it's just a really fun time throughout. Handy, very agile, very athletic. Undertaker, or even for a big man, still very agile in his own right. So, they definitely were able to keep the match going along in some pretty good back and forth. And Orton looked really good against the Undertaker, including that aforementioned an RKO reversal, which, funnily enough, is the only RKO he hit the entire match. Like both wrestlers hit one of their finishers apiece. Randy got one RKO and Undertaker got one Tombstone in order to pick up the win. So, good amount of restraint. Like Orton attempts to go for the RKO multiple times in the match. A couple times, there's even one where he goes for it. I think it's like the first time he attempts it in the match, and Undertaker just hits him up and just dumps him to the outside, which is kind of crazy. Uh, but nevertheless, Randy does get the one RKO, and this was after the referee is down because Randy, I believe it was Undertaker who shoved Randy into the referee, and the referee was out, and then Cowboy Hey Bob comes in, nails Undertaker with the cast, but sure enough, ref takes too long on recuperating, and Undertaker is able to kick out. Cowboy Bob does interfere, but he does pay for it. Undertaker does boot him in the face. It's funny, he boots him in the face, but his hat falls off, and his hat stays in the ring for the rest of the match, which I thought was pretty funny. And I guess that's good that they kept Cowboy Bob's interference to a minimum, so it didn't go overboard and get too egregious. I think that's definitely a good thing. But yeah, that did make me chuckle. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Undertaker nails the Tombstone, but only after Randy attempts it first. Like, Randy has Undertaker up in the position, but is reversed, and Undertaker counters into a Tombstone of his own in order to pick up the win. So, very good match, and the legend goes on for the Undertaker. Here, so Orton is not supposed, or Orton does not slay the legend of the Undertaker streak, but apparently, according to reports, he was supposed to. If you look into it, there are a lot of people before Brock Lesnar eventually did it in 2014. There were quite a few people that they had envisioned to finally be the one to end the Undertaker streak, and Randy was one of them. And there were a few other people that they considered, such as Edge in 2008. I believe Sting was considered if they were able to bring him in. I forget who else off the top of my head was considered, but Orton was one of the big ones. They considered him to end the Undertaker streak here, but ultimately they decided not to go with that. I guess partially to keep the streak going, but also, and I think this is majorly the case, might have something to do with the fact that Randy was getting into a lot of trouble around this time. Like Randy used to be a real bad boy, and was getting into a lot of trouble, getting a lot of disciplinary action against him, getting a decent amount of heat for some of his actions. Randy used to be very wild and very reckless. Like some of the stuff some of his antics that he got up to. I'm not sure if the lotion slash fecal matter incident was before or after this match, but yeah, that was just one of them. So Randy getting into a lot of trouble, and stuff like that. And I think really really stifled him a bit around this time, and so they ended up not going with him being the one to end the streak. Now, would it have been cool if Randy ended the streak? I would say, yeah. What bigger legend at this point in time to end than that of the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak? Now, we know in hindsight, in present day 2026, that Randy didn't necessarily need it. He still went on to become a legend and pretty much a still a stalwart of the WWE up until present day in a lot of his own right. But a victory over Undertaker, I think, definitely would have helped him out quite a bit. But thankfully, he didn't necessarily need it. In terms of what I didn't quite like about the match as much, and admittedly, this is more of a nitpick in a lot of ways, but somewhat understandable, is there is the moment where Undertaker's going for old school. As he's coming down, he pretty much puts his whole crotch on the back of Randy Orton's head as they go down to the mat. Admittedly, it did look a little ugly and kind of scary. He's so kind of an awkward landing. Thankfully, there's not too many of those that I noticed, um, yeah, it did look a little scary, and I do wish the match was a little bit longer. The match is about 14 minutes, which it doesn't feel like 14 minutes. I think the package as a whole is still like of the match and everything is still pretty decently paced and everything. I think like the match as a whole was pretty decently paced, but I do wish it was a smidge longer. But maybe that's just me. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on those post notifications so you know every single time I upload a video so you never miss an upload. And let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on the match, my review of the match. Do you like the match? Do you like my review of the match? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.